Hi everyone, thank you for being here. Welcome back. If you have been around for the last couple of videos, if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. So today we're going to be doing a quick Father's Day reading, see what kind of energy you're going to tap into involving the collective. In honor of Father's Day, I have successfully stolen one of my dad's work shirts. So shout out to you, Pops. But let's do a general reading, see what we get, see what we got to focus on for today. If you are in the local area, it's been a little bit rainy, and that can impact us, given that maybe we've had like past injuries, you name it, whatever. But we're going to do a quick sound cleansing to cleanse the deck. So let's do that. Alrighty. We're going to continue to use our Golden Art Nouveau deck by Julia Masaglia. So let's see, what is our pull for today? What do we get? What do we get? Let's see. While we think about that, we're also going to call upon our ancestors, spirit guides, angels, whoever it is that helps you to feel divinely protected. And any negativity, evil eye, or modern spirits that do not have any good intentions are not welcome here, and they gotta go. I think in my other video I misspoke. The saying is like, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So that is the quote I'm going with. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. You don't got positive intentions. We're not hanging out with that. We're not doing it. Okay. Right, let's see what do we got. Father's Day. What do we need to be aware of? What should we be mindful of? Nine of coins. All right. Okay, let's get into it. So, nines are a completion number. So, let us go and look at the energy and the symbolism in the card. Okay. So, when I think about this specific card, it reminds me of versatility and strength when it comes to working hard for what you want. Okay. So in this specific context for Father's Day, this could be a individual who has been working very hard at their craft. This could be someone who has been putting in a lot of work and a lot of sacrifices, and now they are reaping the rewards. So when you think about the imagery here, you can see that there is a lot of abundance, okay? And then in terms of the hawk here, so there's going to be different cultural interpretations and significance when it comes to the hawk, but from how I interpret the hawk is basically kind of like someone who is locked in, has a lot of strength, and there's a lot of determination there, okay? So with this specific individual, there's been a little bit of a uphill battle, but it's coming to a close. So they're reflecting on a lot of what they've had to sacrifice and what they've worked on up until this point. So with the nine, right? This particular person, whoever this is for, there may have been some relationship or issues going on in the home that you've had to navigate while still trying to engage in long-term planning to actually help the same individuals that you're in conflict with. So this could be like someone who this could be someone who's like misunderstood in their actions. So when we get into relationships or like you're navigating like independent people in families, oftentimes you're going to see a little bit of like values differences. So when we talk about like the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and concepts like that, oftentimes you might see someone who's a little bit more like family oriented, and you might see someone who's a little bit more financially motivated. Okay. So something that we get stuck in a lot of the times is money equates to happiness. And again, I'm going to be the first person to tell you that it doesn't hurt. Yeah, right, it doesn't hurt, but it's also not the end all be all, right? So this particular individual, you are seeing the, what is the saying? There's like a metaphor that I'm trying to think about. It's not coming to me. But you're seeing the fruit of your labor, right? Like you're reaping the rewards from like how hard you worked. It hasn't been easy because oftentimes your actions have maybe been in conflict with your values or maybe in conflict with the family's values. So this could have been again like someone who would come home late and that might have unintentionally stirred up some conflict, right? And then for this particular individual, like you are going to be seeing the luxuries, you're going to be seeing like your hard work pay off in that avenue. But I also want you to consider working on the communication piece. You want to work on the communication piece because you have been working really hard and you're setting up your family and those that you care about for success in the long term. But people aren't mind readers. So, like, when we engage in certain behavioral habits that are maybe out of character or confusing, people can't read your mind, right? And the brain is oriented go to the worst case scenario, right? So, like, you might have been working like really hard or like engaging in like long nights at the job. But your partner is going to be like, excuse me, like where's my person? Like we have children, where are you? Right? Or maybe you are networking or like like trying to rub shoulders with individuals who can position you to get to the success that you're seeing now. But again, right, like we have to work on the communication piece because people aren't going to be like, oh yeah, like Johnny loves his family but has been absent for like the last 4 days. That's normal. Like you have to understand the context of intention versus impact. Okay. So for this individual, you have really good intentions, but remember, people's stuff will come up if we're not precautionary. Like we want to be proactive to like let people know like, hey, I'm gonna be busy or I'm gonna do whatever it is. Let's schedule time with like the kids, your mom or whoever, right? Let's get a little bit more clarity on this card. I mean, good for you, man. Good for you. You put in that work. It's paying off. It's paying off. It hasn't been easy though. It hasn't been easy. There's a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding going on, but you're positioning your loved ones for success. So good on you, man. I'm not mad at it. Let's see. Okay, let's get a clarifier. Five of Cups. Five of Cups, my friend. All right. So, it's interesting. Okay, sorry, I always get ahead of myself. I'll get there. So when we look at the energy and the symbolism behind the card, I always want you to kind of like take into consideration the like crying over spilt milk metaphor, right? So we're focusing on the cups or the emotional opportunities or the emotional events that have happened to us, and we're locked into like the negative, and we're not seeing how we're being blessed in other areas. Okay. So in the behavioral perspective, right? So this is part of like ruminating and unprocessed grief has a tendency to make us almost kind of get on the thinking hamster wheel where we're going to like beat the things that are not going correctly into the ground, so much so that we're actually unintentionally making ourselves miserable. Okay. So in this, the energy that I'm picking up here, you are working really, really hard, but you're only focusing on what went wrong. You're focusing on what wasn't successful. You're focusing on what you could have done better, and not in a constructive way. You're actually engaging in a lot of self-criticism here, and I want you to try to pull it back, pull it back with the inner critic, because that's not benefiting you. It's not benefiting you. Like again, right? Like you busted your butt. Like you worked really freaking hard. You're going to be seeing the benefits and the fruits of your labor soon, but your mindset is fixed on what went wrong. And when you're looking for what went wrong or like the negative, you're not seeing the emotional fulfillment. You're not seeing the opportunities of gratitude or what makes you feel full in terms of emotional fulfillment, right? So with this particular person, like again, like the energy that I got was like someone who like worked really, really hard, sacrificed a lot, and they're seeing the benefits in terms of like a financial luxury, right? Like they're getting what they wanted, but they can't even enjoy it. Like you can't even enjoy it. So this is where I want you to like take into consideration when our values conflict, right? So like you could like very much value family, but you value having a strong work ethic. And then now you're like, okay, like do I work 70 hours or do I like hang out with the siblings or the cousins or the cookout, right? Like, and I want you to take into consideration that sometimes things require balance and don't run don't run from the grief, okay? Because when we are suppressing that and we're kind of just like distracting ourselves, or we're like, this could have been also like, this could have been like grieving over what didn't happen. So maybe like you had a specific idea for a career path or like an idea of success in one sector of work, and it didn't happen. So maybe you're focusing on like not getting that promotion, or you're focusing on something not panning out, right? This could also be like a literal passing, right? Like someone in the family might have passed away, or maybe a relationship came to an end in terms of friendships. Um, Part of me feels like because of a loss. Interesting. Okay. So part of the loss is almost like, all right, now this is going to be a little bit deep, right? But part of the loss is who you wanted to be. Part of the loss is coming from like who you imagined yourself to be at this stage, right? Like the Nine of Pentacles, like seeing the rewards of how hard you have worked, and you might not have been able to do that. This could have been like a barrier that came up, or maybe something happened in terms of distractions. Um, but I want you to also consider that that comes from not processing, right? Like when we're not fully processing grief, that can show up in the form of avoidant behaviors, that can show up in the form of escapism or like overcompensating, right? Um, that's very interesting. Like this energy feels almost kind of like you're grieving something that didn't happen. This could also be like, all right, again, not to get all sad and cryptic and whatnot, right? But we have to honor all the feelings, right? So we're gonna hold space for that here today. This could have been someone who was supposed to become a father. This could have been someone who lost a child before maybe there was like a issue in the pregnancy. This could have been someone who didn't get a say, who felt like they didn't get a say, and like carrying the child to term. Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple different things that we're grieving here that could be for someone. And again, remember, like if it doesn't resonate with you, don't take it. This might not be the reading for you. But I have a lot of empathy. I have a lot of empathy. Like that came up. This was someone who maybe was supposed to be a father and something happened. Something got in the way. There was a barrier or there was a decision that was made. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that still need to be processed in terms of grief here. And again, it's a little bit bittersweet because you have worked so hard and you got the wish fulfillment, right? Like you've made it to the quote unquote destination of success, but you're not enjoying it. You're not in a joyous mindset, like you're not in a gratitude mindset because we're focusing on the aspects of grief that we didn't get to process yet, right? I'm gonna pull another card for clarification, but I have a lot of love. I have a lot of love for this person. I have a lot of empathy. Like that's not easy. And again, like in today's society, we don't really have the luxury of properly grieving at times, especially when life comes at us from all angles. So I definitely got a lot of empathy for that person. Because it's like there's like an identity piece, like there's like we're supposed to become like a father or like maybe even like a father figure is not around presently. Um, yeah, there's a couple things there. Okay, let's get a clarifier. Let's see what we got. What we got? Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords, y'all. All right, okay. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. This person feels defeated a little bit. It's interesting because when we look at the symbolism behind the card, the Ten of Swords, this card can be attributed to betrayal. It can be attributed to like self-sabotage, maybe self-betrayal, right? Depending on the context of the reading, like this could be someone who feels like quite literally like stabbed in the back, right? Maybe there was a situation where we thought someone was going to act a certain way and they didn't, and that kind of gave us a little bit of what's called like a disappointment hangover, right? And then because this is the 10, right? So remember, tens are like the completion, but they're like basically like the next stepping stone of the cycle. And then we go back to one, right? So like one is like a an opportunity, an invitation, and then we go through all of the numbers, and then 10 is basically like, all right, full circle, you did it, it's completed, and now next lesson, next cycle begins, right? So this person feels I'm getting guilt. I'm getting guilt for some reason. They could be feeling guilty. Um, why are we feeling guilty though? That's so interesting. Okay, okay. Maybe, huh. All right, so the success is not what they thought that it would be. Maybe they feel successful, but they feel guilty as to how they came about it. Like something happened where, interesting. Something happened that was not part of a plan. So, like, they were successful in getting to where they want to be, but it's not how they mapped it out, and they're feeling guilty for it. Maybe, okay, this could have been someone might have had like the fear of success, and because of that, they might have unintentionally pushed down parts of themselves. And when you push down part of yourself, what happens is subconsciously it comes out in the form of defense mechanisms. Okay. So oftentimes what will tend to happen is if you're not aware of these defense mechanisms or these behavioral habits, what's going to happen is you might start like projecting. So like you might be like mad at the circumstances, but like now you're like screaming at your husband, right? Because in reality, you feel like you're overworking and you're not paying enough attention to your husband, but you're projecting and you're saying like you're not paying enough attention to me, right? This could also have been like you're not in a mindset of gratitude when it comes to your success right now. I'm very curious. I also, you know what? I kind of want to get another clarifier card, but let's see if we can bridge the gap first, because this person's feeling very conflicted. They're feeling very conflicted here. So you did it, like you acquired the financial success, whether again it was through work, a successful project. You acquired your goal, so maybe you wanted to invest and the investment was successful, right? But we still have some things that we gotta grieve. We still have some things that we gotta grieve. And because we still have some things that we gotta grieve, you can't enjoy the success, and then you're also feeling defeated. You're feeling like you might have self-sabotaged in certain areas. Okay. And then with the Ten of Swords, this is almost kind of like a rebirth of a mindset, right? So whatever happened that made you feel defeated, or whatever happened that made you feel guilty, right? Something that is recommended is to almost kind of like, in terms of processing, try to find the pattern where we were engaging in self-sabotage. Because self-sabotage doesn't just happen for like funsies, right? Like that's a part of you that is trying to protect you from something, whether it's you have to evolve into a new version of yourself. So your subconscious, that self-sabotage, the saboteur, if you will, is like, nope, that's going to require a level of growth that we haven't done yet, so don't do it, right? This could have been like self-sabotage in the way of there was another like life event potentially coming up and you might not have felt ready for it. And because of that self-sabotage, right, you might have unintentionally like lashed out or pushed some people away, right? Um, and you're feeling guilty about that. You're feeling guilty about potentially self-sabotaging. Again, this could be like a partnership, friendship, maybe even a relationship, right? I want to get one more clarifier because like the energy is feeling like still conflicted a little bit. And I just want to make sure that I'm clear on what the context is because it's definitely like they're successful, they're still grieving something, maybe someone or part of themselves, something that was supposed to happen that didn't happen. Um, and they're feeling like they maybe like shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's get a clarifier. Okay, let's see. Ooh, strength, strength. All right. Okay. All right. So looking at the energy and the symbolism of the card, okay? So this can be interpreted in a couple different ways. I hate when the lighting changes because it freaks me out because I just see like the screen change. Sorry, that's my ADHD in real time. All right, so the energy and the symbolism in the card, right? So like when I see the strength card, this is like calling upon your inner strength. I like to think of this also as like someone who's like taming their inner beast, right? And with the strength card, I also like associate this with Leos. Again, obviously, right? Like we have the lion in the major arcana card. But this could have been so you could be a Leo. You might have been like engaging with a Leo, and maybe you're feeling like you unintentionally like shot yourself in the foot. Um, this also like makes me feel like going back to the self-sabotage piece. This makes me feel like in the moment, you might not have had the strength. You might not have had the strength that you thought that you needed. And that's why we were feeling like a little bit more defeated. Okay. So when I say like you might not have had the strength, like maybe you had a goal, but you had to sacrifice things. And maybe now you're feeling like you might have sacrificed the wrong thing, right? Um, Also with like the strength card, this person went through a lot. And I'm also getting that they were like suffering in silence. Like they might have been going through a lot, but they like just didn't know how to like talk about it or like verbalize it. And again, if you think about the context of human behavior, right? If we see behavior that's not like the healthiest, that's all we're basing our interpretations off of, right? Like if you're feeling stressed out of work and you're lashing out, that makes a little bit more sense versus like you're just like lashing out, right? Now, again, this doesn't justify unhealthy behavior, but as adults, we can't read each other's mind. It's not like helping children to like find the words to like be like, hey, like I need additional support or I need help here, right? Um, but for this specific card, I'm like feeling a little bit more of like you didn't know that you could handle the situation, right? And because of that uncertainty, you might have, again, right? Because this happens subconsciously. Like, no one's just like, you know what? This is a good thing. I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna mess it up on purpose, right? Like, no one does that. No one does that. Um, but this could have been like you didn't know your own power. Maybe you were feeling uncertain or insecure about this particular situation. Maybe about like, again, like you were locked into the goal of like financial success or like whatever your project was, and maybe you felt like there was too many distractions, and in this moment you might have felt like the discernment, you made the wrong call. You feel like you made the wrong call. That's what I'm getting here. Okay. um Interesting. Interesting. You were suppressing something. It could have been like emotional vulnerability. It almost kind of feels like, again, like growing up, like the narratives that we internalize. This could have been someone that felt like emotions are a weakness and you didn't know how to talk about them, so you didn't, right? Okay, let's bridge the gap. Let's bridge the gap. It's a little bit longer, but this is a person that feels like very, very conflicted, so I want to make sure that we do this due diligence, okay? Because as a Father's Day reading, right, like this definitely feels like someone who put in a lot of hard work. Ooh, okay. This actually could be someone who is trying to fill the shoes of a father figure. Okay. This makes sense. This could be like someone who's like maybe late 20s to like late 30s, this feels like. Okay. So you're successful, right? Like you accomplished the mission, like you're seeing the benefits, the fruits of your labor, right? But you're still grieving something. You're grieving like a part of yourself. You're grieving like something that didn't happen, right? And then also, you're feeling like you betrayed yourself a little bit. You're feeling maybe even betrayed by whoever it was or whatever it was that we dropped the ball on, right? Goes back to like the projection, right? So when we are engaging in these defense mechanisms, this feels like because we self-sabotage or we sabotage something unintentionally, we're beating ourselves up, right? And then you didn't know that you had the capacity at the time, right? It's almost kind of like a hindsight situation. So for whoever this is for, okay, I want you to really make it a point to give yourself extra compassion and reflect on, well, one, like, why can't we enjoy the success, right? Like, enjoy your celebration, right? Like, you did it. Like, you acquired the goal, you acquired the luxury, like where you want to be. Give yourself the grace to grieve, right? Like, we're human beings, like telling yourself to rub dirt on it because you don't want to process grief, that's cruel. Like, why do you want to be your own oppressor? Allow yourself to have the feelings, right? And then also, self-sabotage is a lot more common than you think, and you want to give yourself grace. Okay. This could be this might be a conversation that you need to have with yourself, or again, maybe write a letter to process a little bit. Um, and then also with this, knowing your worth and knowing that you have the capacity and the power to do difficult things, right, without self-sabotaging. All right. And again, we have a major arcana on the board, so this could be for a Leo, could also just be for I'm getting like fire signs for some reason. So like again, like Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, um, could have been involved with like an air sign, possibly. Could have been an air sign, maybe a Libra, maybe a Libra. Um, you also have cups. There might have been some type of I'm getting Pisces for some reason. Could have been like sun, moon, or rising involved as well. Maybe that was part of the discernment, right? Like maybe there was someone who was inspiring you, and you're like, okay, nope, this isn't, worth my time, and we shot ourselves in the foot because the business partnership with the Pisces didn't pan out or whatever, right? But that's who I have on the board. I think like Leo, maybe a Libra, some air sign that could be like moon, sun, or rising. Um, maybe Pisces, Venus, maybe Pisces, Venus. Um, yeah, but this person, cut yourself some slack, dude. Cut yourself some slack. Um, for for today, I think that's about it. But I have a lot of empathy for whoever that's for. Again, right? Like, we can't be our parents. Like, you can't be your dad, right? Like, you're never meant to be. And then we're also not really meant to fill someone else's shoes. We're meant to like craft our own shoes and take and pull from what resonates into our adulthood, right? Um, and then again, just going back to the grief a little bit. Um, if you are grieving not becoming someone or like not getting to do something, then that just means that that's not in alignment for you right now, right? Doesn't mean it's never going to happen, but allow yourself to grieve. Allow yourself to grieve that. But I think that's about it for today. Thank you so much. This was a little bit longer, but there's like a lot of energy that was coming through for that interpretation. But besides that, if you stayed for the whole thing, very grateful for you. If you stopped by, you're a real one too. I hope you have a great day or night whenever you're watching this. And as always, you are always protected and always divinely protected. Sorry, want to make sure that I got that in there. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. If you're watching this on Sunday, I hope you have an amazing night. And besides that, I'll see you soon. Okay. Bye.